Hello, this is Viola Strepsata Voltarine, and some of you might be curious about my unusual personal life, so I thought I would discuss it a little bit today. From dating to day to day life, I do things a little differently than most. I don't like typical jobs, typical boyfriends, or typical dating. And I share this to inspire you to not live a typical life either. We only get this one life. Might as well stop conforming and do what makes you comfortable.
Taking men for a test drive. She don't have time for the normal guys. Just those who submit, those who want to be hers, and they show it. Just she know it. She is Viola Voltarine, and you are listening. Keep on listening to Obedient Love. She is Viola Voltarine, and you are listening. Keep on listening to Obedient.
Dating. It's not for me. I do not like going on dates with men who have not already proven themselves trustworthy. It feels like a waste of time, and maybe my brain is just different, but I get exhausted by small talk. I only go out with men who are part of my life already. They are allowed to take me out to dinner, shopping, or to a movie or show, and I like it when they offer. However, dating men you don't know is, well, in my opinion, an outdated get-to-know-you ritual. I enjoy watching videos of people telling their dating horror stories. You get to pick up on certain patterns. There seems to be a trend of men taking women to a nice restaurant and then claiming they forgot their wallets. There's a new expectation from men that women offer to go half and half on dates as well. Sometimes they offer to pay in full if the women will come back to the crib. When men do treat women, they seem to think it's not about showing off their worthiness, but making an exchange for the services of a prostitute. Then there seem to be men who spend all night on their phones or cannot keep up their end of a conversation and seem to be putting in zero effort. No woman should be subjected to these indignities. It's easy to avoid them with my methods. So, how do I meet men? I haven't dated men, technically, for many years, as I find it to be a pointless exercise, as I said. Instead of dating, I do what I like to call the test drive. I also sometimes call them experiments because they give me insight into submissive male psychology. Now, I stopped doing them during the onset of COVID-19, but have now decided to pick up on the practice once again. It's just a lot more fun and gives me more information about the sub's nature than a date ever would. Sometimes before they even get to the experiment phase, I'll have them do an errand for me and then perform some specific protocols in front of my doorbell camera. And they don't get to see me in person yet, but I can see them. I'm testing to see if they can follow directions correctly and are willing to humiliate themselves just a bit for me. I will likely also expect them to present their IDs so I know that they are who they claim to be. I may do a background check. And if they can complete that little bit of vetting, I know I can move them along to the next steps. We can go for the test drive. Often, it will involve several men at once, or very occasionally just one man. Having more than one there shows me that these men are suited to being in my hive, where they understand they're not the one and only submissive serving me. Each is expected to present a thoughtful gift. It need not be extravagant, but it must show that they've done their research and know what I like. I give each man an appointed time and tell him how long to expect to be with me. When he arrives at my home, sometimes at the same time as two other men, he's welcomed inside cordially, sometimes by me, or sometimes by my formally dressed sissy slave. Each man is to stand straight, eyes cast downward, and wait as long as is needed. Then I command him to strip down. I bag up all his clothes, phone, keys, and belongings, and put them in a locked closet. He is instructed on how to address me and to keep his eyes on the floor and not look at me unless told otherwise. If there is more than one, I will line the men up and inspect them. Then I'll have them kneel, forehead to the ground, and wait for instructions. Sometimes I will lock one in the walk-in closet under the stairs with some reading materials or images to look at. Sometimes I will put shackles on their ankles. I might simply place one in a corner and make him repeat a mantra in his head. It all depends on my mood. Then, one by one, I take them into my bedroom, into my chamber, to learn protocols, body positions, commands, and maybe give them some phrases to memorize. This is where we begin to establish something more intimate. I ask them in detail about their limits and their experience. The conversation can be somewhat casual as I dig a little deeper into their psychology and get to know their personalities. Then, one by one, I give them household tasks to complete. It might be cleaning my shower and toilet, dusting the baseboards, scrubbing the floor. If they're outdoorsy, I might allow them to put on some shorts and do yard work or work in my garden. I need to know if they will perform to my expectations. As they work, I offer clear corrections and keep an eye on their progress. When complete, I will give them my full assessment. They will have to complete the task to my satisfaction, no matter how long it takes. If at any point they waste my time with incompetence, they must get dressed and leave immediately. They are disqualified. If there are several men, I will usually bring them together at the end for some group drills going through the protocols. Then they will be asked to get dressed and leave. Sometimes I'll give them a hug. Those who have pleased me might be invited back, and those who continue to impress me might be allowed to have a casual meet-up with me for lunch or dinner. Or they'll just have more time to kneel before me and get to know one another. I do not invite men who are just playing. I much prefer the men who are seeking their dominant lady to serve, and they have to convince me that they really want it. If we do go out after a few test drives, he can be sure I will choose the places we go, but he will be allowed to make suggestions. He will do all of the driving and will pay for everything. If food is involved, I will decide what he eats, having gotten to know his preferences, of course. He will not take a bite until I have begun eating. Throughout the encounter, he needs to be able to hold up his end of a conversation and also be comfortable with silence when I don't feel like talking. That is what my unusual dating life looks like. I'm auditioning men to take on a more serious role in my household and in my life. I set up these simple initial hoops, and if he's unable to jump through them, lots of other men will. I do not waste my time convincing men that they want to be in my life. They have to show me that they want it. This is a self-weeding process. As things go along, the opportunities to establish a personal connection come with ease. Once you've made the dynamic clear, it opens the path for sharing vulnerability and experiencing real chemistry. For the women who are sick of the typical dating scene, I encourage you to find your own way to vet men who will show you reverence and respect. Use my examples as inspiration and weed out the time wasters. I do not like typical relationships, though I do some of the typical things people in relationships do. Hang out, talk, cuddle, watch movies, read together. We talk about each other's problems and help each other through tough times. When one of my boys is down, I will listen to him and lift him up. He expresses devotion, and I teach him how I want to be treated. When things are going well, we celebrate together. We are affectionate and loving, and we also like to play. And that's my love life in a nutshell. Another aspect of my life that I refuse to live typically is my work. My calling is to teach submissive men the art of surrender, submission, sacrifice, selfless service, and a new, better form of survival, and a new purpose in life. This is my primary calling. Another calling for me is to give women a chance to experience their own innate power. I'm doing this through my courses on female-led relationships, through providing a space for their dominance with my organization called The Company, and finally, by helping them become completely self-sufficient. I'm also a film producer, an author, and I have now begun working with small women-owned businesses, creating a shop that will support my plans going forward. My next step will be to empower both women and men who want to stop using the precious hours of their life to make rich men richer. I have begun learning new ways to fund my plans, and I want to teach other women to empower themselves in this way too. I also want to teach the men who support me how to do it so they can come to work for me and create the first official Gynarchic hive. This way, a man could fully immerse himself in service as a lifestyle. My parents were entrepreneurs and my grandparents were independent small farmers. I have nothing in me that allows me to work in a job with a boss and corporate nonsense. Because of this, I've had to challenge myself to find ways to use my skills and talents to support myself. It may surprise you to know that my current live-in slaves and I split the household bills equally. It is important for me to know how to be independent so that even when men who want to take care of me are allowed to take care of me, I will never, ever feel financially helpless. And no shade to the pro-doms, but pro-dom got old for me and I discovered it was mostly just a service industry catering to men. So I had to find out how to integrate my life and my beliefs into a truly Gynarchic approach. If I could, I would like to be able to support an entire hive with the men around me doing jobs that I asked them to do. Together, the men and I could become wish-granting genies for all the women around us, offering them pampering, reverence, and the knowledge to make their lives easier. So, no, I don't want a typical life in any sense of the word. I cannot settle for the dating scene, the work your life away career path, or typical men with their typical attitudes. My refusal to settle has helped me live an extraordinary life. As always, to learn more about my continuing plans to make my life and that of others non-typical and extraordinary, check out my book, The Pillars of Gynarchy, anywhere books are sold. And if you're a submissive man and you want to go for a test drive and you're in my area, send me a message. We'll see if you will ever be worthy of a date.
Step inside the magic, into the unknown. Hushed whispers follow where you'll be shown. A world of wonder, one glance you'll see. Viola's enchanting, she's got the key. Are you scared? Don't worry. Viola Voltairine will guide you. She will show you just what to do. Come play with her, make your dream come true. Through the corridors where shadows dance and gleam, every secret past and buried dream. Mystic like lights, they twirl in violet hue. Viola's waiting there for you. Come feel the spell, her hand it beckons. In her world, a world of lessons. In the twilight's embrace, seek the arcane truth. Viola's song, a whisper to soothe. Through ancient halls where time twists and turns, magic flows in every corner it burns. Are you curious? Just take a step.